when I'm getting to the bag, ayy. Got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast, ayy. Let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss, ayy.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Friday, everybody. We're going to do a little solo show today. It's going to be all Q&A based. All right. So throughout the week and weeks, and I haven't done this in a while, but I get a lot of DMs across the board about industry specific questions that individuals might not be getting the right answers to on the old interweb. And they might not get that support inside of their operation. So I'm going to be making an effort to bring this back a couple of times a month. And everything is anonymous here, all right? Like, I'm not here to sell out any organizations who are lacking their team or anything like that, or any individuals. I'm just like legitimately here to help. Again, this is all just based on my actual experience in the industry, what I do in these situations. And the beauty of listening to a guy like me is I actually do the work that I talk about on this show. And but we will be breaking all of this down today. Good morning, Sunny Sharma. Let's go. So again, even if you want these questions answered live on the show, just drop them down in the chat, you guys. We will answer them here live on the show. But I got a couple that were DM'd over to me here that we're going to start with them. And I am trying out the going live on Twitter now. I hope I set it up right. Again, I'm not a tech guy. I just hit a bunch of buttons and it says that it checkmarked that it's working out there. So we are going to be going live on Twitter, X, whatever it's called out there. And we're trying to do that here as well, just to kind of expand out the old base here. And obviously, you guys, there was a lot of stuff that kind of broke overnight about what Secretary of State Marco Rubio said out there. I'm going to be talking about that on Tuesday's show. I try my best not to be the first to comment on certain situations, because I kind of like information to come out, because I truly take what I do here seriously. I try my best to not emotionally react to a lot of stuff out there. I try and take my time and then talk about it after, all the information has kind of come out about a lot of these situations that are faced in transportation. And, obviously our industry is all over mainstream social media right now. And there's a bunch of people commenting on stuff that, at the end of the day, you guys, they couldn't even tell you how many wheels were on an 18-wheeler, but they're all trucking experts right now out there. And I'm just going to give it a couple of days. I'll talk about it on Tuesday's show. But again, I just try my best to not react to certain things too soon, just to say that I had an opinion on something. I as somebody who is, considered a media personality and a, air quote, respected voice, they say, out there, you can Google that. I'm not saying that about myself, but that's what's said about me out there. I take what I do very, very seriously, you guys, from that regard. And I don't just want to spout off about stuff. I want to do my research on it. I want to take my time and process it and go and put that content out there about that. So today's show, you guys, is Q&A. It's all freight sales related questions that have came in so far. And we're going to talk about that. And, again, you guys, I just had 2 episodes kind of about this topic here. My friend Sean Lydon, he owns Systematic Sales. And then I also had Dr. James Kenny on the show earlier this week, you guys, and he is a phenomenal resource out there in the sales, inside of transportation, sales systems and everything. So we've already done a couple of episodes about that here recently, but we're going to do, and I'm going to give you guys some more insight on this. And my friend Robert Cowton says, happy Friday, Chris. When will you talk about build a freight agent book of business and actually take real vacations? Since 2016, zero vacation for me. How do you plan this with your business? You know what's funny, Robert? I'll just move that question up to the front because I was going to save something similar like this to the back. All right. So Robert and I are both agents with SPI Logistics. And I think the thing about freight agents right now is it's very hot to talk about on social media. It's all over how it's the next best thing out there. And so I'm going to kind of give just a little reality check to a lot of this, because I feel like there's a lot of individuals who, they see the freedom that can come along, and air quotes, I'm going to use air quotes, perceived freedom that can come along with going out on your own and doing your own business and, starting your own agency and stuff like that. And I will say this, for the right individual, it is a phenomenal opportunity for you. But I want you to stop yourself before you take that leap. And I want you to ask yourself and be real with yourself. Did you actually build that book of business that you want to transfer over? Or did you acquire it through attrition? And what I say that is where you fed accounts that you just kind of started moving freight with, and you were more of an account manager than you were an actual hunter. And I say that because everybody operates and they think that everything's going to be perfectly fine when they go out on their own, like nothing's going to change. But I want you to ask yourself, like, what if you lose that business? Do you have what it takes to build an actual book of business from scratch? Because I have rebuilt my book of business from scratch starting in 2023. I had zero customers, you guys, zero, big fat zero revenue coming in. And we have organically built our book of business through, in an air quote, the hardest freight market of all time. Nobody's adding anybody, which is a complete lie. It's just not easy right now out there, and you got to follow a system. And Robert's very, very accurate. I've been self-employed now for 5 years. I've taken one vacation, but I worked the entire time that I was there. And my family took a vacation, and that's kind of the balance that I bring to it right now, Robert, is I haven't taken a vacation day, air quote, where I've walked away from the business. I've worked out of my hotel room. And for me, it's like, at least my wife and my son get to go out and enjoy some of this stuff. And I'm very fortunate. And my wife doesn't watch my show because she's sick. She doesn't want to hear me talk all day long. But I'm very fortunate for her support in all of this stuff. And she gets it, right? She knows the work that I'm putting into this. So she is on board with the amount of time that I'm actually investing into this, because, it's not a 9 to 5. Like I think that most individuals out there, they come into their office, they work, and then they go home. They might not answer emails after hours. Again, I'm not in everybody's business. And frankly, I don't care what you guys do out there. But how I operate is I'm essentially available from 4 a.m. my time to about 6 p.m. my time. And I say that because, like, all of my customers are closed for the day by about 6 p.m. my time out there. So am I answering emails at all hours of the night? No, I'm not. All right. But I will if it boils down to it. And that is what's required, because it as soon as you can accept that it is a lot harder than you think to build a book of business, whether you have established customers or not, because like if you like want to go out on your own and become an agent or something like that, like I was saying, it is a great opportunity for the right person out there, but like, you need to understand that you are solely responsible for literally everything at that point. And depending on how the agency is structured and stuff like that, there's a lot of things behind the scenes out there. You can see that I have been with SPI for a very long time. They have been a longtime supporter of the show. They have been a phenomenal partner of mine. They are the real deal. And you can take that for what it's worth. You can be like, oh, they're paying you to say that. They're not at all. Actually, they have never told me to say anything other than the truth. So from my perspective, they are the real deal. If you want to go out there and do it on your own, I would highly recommend going through SPI Logistics. Without a doubt in my mind, they are the real deal. We've like all the pay, everything, the insurance, the technology, everything is there for us to operate. we've been in a couple of situations where we've had some claims because you guys, I move real freight. I don't just talk about moving freight. I have real freight moving every single day. We go through some shit out there, and they've been a true partner and handled all of that, right? There was never any recourse that came about. I can't say in every situation, but this is just my personal experience. So if you want to jump out on your own, I would highly recommend looking at a company like SPI Logistics to bring your book of business to and jump in there and run with it. But you need to understand that you're probably not going to get a vacation. You're not for a while, right? I'm not saying that all of this stuff is impossible, but it's going to take a very long time out there. And you need to just be aware of what you're getting into. At times I find it very ironic when there's individuals out there advocating for people to leave their salary to become 1099 who are also collecting a salary. I just find it a little ironic, but it's one of those situations that, from my perspective, it is so worth it if you have the actual grit that it's going to take you, because everything's great when you're making money, you guys. All right. That's why starting a business sounds fucking phenomenal when you're getting a direct deposit every 2 weeks out there. But those gut checks are going to happen when the money stops coming in, when you lose customers, when your revenue drops, when your profit drops, and then your pay drops along with that, right? So it's just certain things to consider. Again, I'm not here to tell anybody how to live their life. I'm just here to tell people my experiences and the truth out there, and it's worth it for the right individuals, but it's not for a lot. I feel like the internet glamorizes entrepreneurship and walking away from the security of stuff a little too much, because it's not as cool as you think. It's great, yeah, I love it, but it's not as easy as you think. All right, just putting that out there. Robert says, I'm the same, working vacations, not having taken a day since 2016. It's hard to add team members, train, trust. Day-to-day flexibility is great. Hustle, haven't figured out vacation. Yeah, man, I'm right there with you. And I'll promise you this, Robert, and everybody who's listening, I will tell you when I'm there and if I have a solution for you guys, right? Because I'm not there yet, man. But dude, like, I also look at it like this, Robert. I like working, man. I'm one of those grunts, man. I like to work. I like to do shit with my time. I don't like to sit around. I feel lazy as fuck when I'm sitting around and not doing anything out there. So, all right, you guys. The question, one of the questions that I got in was about finding customers and like, how do you actually do it? Because their question was, it's not as easy as just cold calling people. They don't just give you their freight. And I'm obviously summarizing this, but it was like, what's an actual system to follow? And this is something, you guys, that I wish I would have done a lot earlier in my career. And this isn't even just being out on my own here, because when we were out there building originally, when we had no customers, you guys, like I kind of fell into the email outreach bug like everybody, because I thought like, oh, I could reach more and more people out there, but it wasn't the case at all. And whether you have customers or you're looking to start finding customers out there, you guys, I know the term ICP, ideal customer profile, is thrown around a lot right now. And I look at it as depending on your experience. If you've been doing this job for a while, and I mean like pre-COVID a while, that you've experienced other modes, you've experienced other markets besides excess capacity, I'm cool with you going out and kind of like going after multiple things, dry, reefer, flatbed, stuff like that, because I feel like you've got a little more tangible experience out there in the market. But if you're just starting out, or maybe you're going out on your own as an agent for the first time, and say you have one customer that moves a lot of dry van, for example, I would highly recommend you stay there. I would highly recommend you niche down even further. What's the commodity that you're moving the most out there? And, inside of my organization, we are all flatbed, you guys. All right. We do flatbed. We do a little bit of over dimensional and heavy haul. And I do that because I've done extensive of that. So I will offer that out there. But like, our max, you guys, is essentially 12 wide, 13 tall, about 110,000 pounds, because anything more complex than that, I am doing my customers a disservice as a broker. Once you go into needing pilot cars, route surveys, shit like that, I'm just adding a layer of complexity. Now, I know that there's brokers out there who will do that. All more power to you. This is just what I do. So our ICP, our vision, we are a full truckload open deck broker. All right. This is what we do. I do not do LTL for non-existing customers. If a customer that I'm working with comes to me about some smaller shipments, we will take care of it, but that is not my value proposition out there. All right. So I know who I'm going after. And now inside of my organization, where we're at right now, I have a group of about 7 to 8 base shippers that we work with. We have our core customers, and then we have some lower volume customers that are fillers, right? That, you know what, we only get a couple of loads a week from them. There's not a lot of consistency there, but we're going to continue to work with them. So now I'm at a point where my focus is going to be shifting more towards volume-based shippers, right? Like I'm thinking like 250 annual to 750 annual full truckloads. And those are the style of shippers that I want to go after now, because, you know, that's our core, but it's all going to align in the open deck space, building materials, construction equipment, concrete, pipe. Those are kind of the core commodities that we are currently working with. I'm going to stay in that because like these markets are a lot bigger than most people can even comprehend out there, right? Like, so for us, it's like if it ships on a flatbed or a step deck or an open deck trailer, we're going after that, right? We have our core regions that we're going to go after. So once we have our ideal customer profile, for example, I want you to then take it back a layer. All right. Where are you geographically located out there? Or where have you moved extensive freight at in the past? And now I don't want to hear this same BS. We'll go anywhere. We're the best at everything. All right. I want you to really think about this. Where are you really strong? All right. The majority of our freight inside of my organization, Southwest. All right. We move out of the Southwest here. All right. We also move out of the Southeast, ironically, because my first customer that we started moving freight with was Virginia down to Florida. And that's kind of the core region that we're going to stay in. All right. So it's like the Western 11 and then the Southeast. And then we're building up off of that. So you got to look at it like this. All right. Open deck, primarily shippers in the Southeast and the Southwest. That's where we're going to stay with this. So plug and play these terminology for wherever you are. So you have your ideal customer profile, and then you have the region that you want to focus in on. Because when you're out there and you're building up and you don't have a team around you, you need to look at how do I find customers with repeatable freight, but how do I find carriers that have repeatable capacity? All right. Because you need to find those right carriers to move for you. All right. You want that same truck showing up as much as you possibly can. Your customers love it. Okay. Now, secondly, like when it comes down to it, you guys, from like a lead generation perspective, like I just did a show a couple of weeks ago about this as well. Google is a great resource if you do not have the money to pay for lead generation software. I personally have used Seamless.ai in the past, and then I am currently exploring a company called Apollo.io. I just found them the other day, and it's something that I'm looking into and it seems cost effective. All right, because I don't have a ton of money to invest in lead generation software at this point. I can't pay for a ZoomInfo account. It's just outside of my budget right now. So these are the things that I'm looking for out there. So, you know, what is your strategy though? Because it's easy to talk about, all right, I'm going to go after 53-foot reefers out there. I'm going to stay in food, and then I'm going to focus here in the Southwest. All right. So cool. We have our three pillars of developing our book of business. All right. We have our customer profile that we want to go after. We have a region that we want to go after. And then we have a commodity that we want to go after. Because again, I feel like once you peel back the layers, you guys, you will understand that there is a lot of opportunity in a lot of these modes that are out there, and you don't need to go. And just some quick stats, you guys. I found this before the show, and I want to put this out there. All right. Dry van alone, about $285 billion in annual full truckload freight spend. All right. To break it down, retail and consumer goods are between 82 and 85 billion, manufacturing and industrial 68 to 70 billion. And then when we go down to refrigerated, give me a second here, is about $68 to $72 billion in annual full truckload freight spread that is out there. Food and beverage is about 80% of that, though, you guys. It's like 47 to 50 billion. Pharmaceuticals is about 8 billion, and then retail grocery is about 7 to 8 billion. All right. So those are just some quick numbers for you guys to understand how large these market segments and why you should niche down even further. Okay. Because inside a flatbed where we're at, it's like $60 billion, you guys. 60 billion. If I build $100 million book of business out of there, that's like 0.00015%. My math might be off. I went to public school, but all I'm saying is the majority of people out there don't have $100 million operation. All right. So why do you need to go anywhere else is what I'm really trying to get at there. So once you have all of that, now what is a system that you can follow every single day? Because this is the literal most important part out there. You can make 50 calls in a day, and then not call for 4 more days. And how good is that though? Like overall, right? Because I'm looking at everyday systems because frankly, you guys, you all follow a system and it breaks down into 2 categories. You're either following a system that progresses your operation or you're following a system that regresses your operation. And it is that cut and dry to me. So what are you working on? What is a good baseline? So my thing is if you have 0 freight that you're moving, you have nothing, and you've never made cold calls before out on your own. You might have made them for a company where you're getting a salary and it's a lot different. But if you're out on your own and you're making cold calls for the first time, start with 25 dials in a day. All right. You might say that sounds low. Do it every single day for 30 straight days and tell me that sounds low. All right. Because the majority of people out there do not consistently do their job. All right. They do not consistently hit their call numbers every single day because that is what you need to do. You need to set a system, arbitrary number, 25 calls. The progress that is shown in your growth, you guys, is based on how long it takes you to do it because it's easy to do it when you're motivated. How motivated are you going to be when people hang up on you, tell you, never call me again, remove me from your list, we'll never work with you. All you brokers are the same. You guys fucking suck. Don't ever call me again. It might be over exaggerating there, you guys, but like that's kind of the reality of what you're going to be faced with a lot. Rest assured, though, 90% of the calls that you have out there, you guys, they're not even going to pick up the phone. And then when you do get people on the phone, if you're prepared for their call, they will be cordial with you. They might not give you their business, but they're going to be cordial with you because most people are pretty fucking cool. Most people are pretty nice out there. So have that strategy. You got your 25 dials in a day. See how long it takes you to make it. Because realistically, by like day 5, 7, 10, when the last thing you want to do and when you're doubting everything, that's when it's going to be the most important to continue to show up and do that. And then I believe in the Add 5 initiative that I have completely made up out of thin air. But it's like once you get 25 and you get in that routine, add 5 on and get to 30. All right. Because what you're going to do is you're going to eventually build that up, right? Like when I was making cold calls earlier, I'll say like 6-7 months ago, because I do it every single day, you guys, but like I was making like 55 cold calls every single day. And I had built back up into that because all of these skills, you guys, are perishable. All right. Everything is literally perishable. And that's why you're going to hit those levels, right? Where you're going to make those calls. You're going to eventually find a customer that's going to start giving you freight out there. But what will happen is once you get that, you're going to feel extremely overwhelmed in that moment. Right? You're going to feel extremely busy. Oh my gosh, how am I going to manage this? I'm so busy. I got all this stuff. And again, you are in that moment. I'm not discrediting everybody's emotions because you're going to be faced with that. But my thing is if you get up and you're making 50 cold calls a day and then you get a customer, you're moving freight, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling air quote busy, scale it back a little bit, but don't stop doing it because that's the death blow for a lot of sales reps. They'll only do it until they can feel a little bit of comfort and then they stop doing it entirely. And it's that work that you did is what helps you build your book of business up, you guys. Okay. So once you find that, scale back, right? Scale back to maybe go back down to 25 again. But again, keep that habit going because in today's market, you guys, it's going to take a lot longer than you want it to. All right. I thought we would be doing like $15 million a year at this point. I really did. When I first started out, I thought it was only going to be a matter of time. Couldn't have been further from I couldn't have been more wrong in that. In like, yes, we've grown. All right, we're doing good. But it's taken a lot longer than I thought, because I honestly thought the market would have recovered by now. I thought the Feds would have reduced interest rates by now. I didn't expect the administration to go as hard on tariffs and like flip flop. And, again, I've been very critical of the current administration about that, right? Like, I'm not here to argue if tariffs are good or bad, but it's irresponsible to flip flop as much as they have on what is going to happen at 7 a.m. is vastly different than what could happen at 5 p.m. that day, right? So I feel like there's a lot of external factors that are really bogging down any real form of recovery out there. But at the end of the day, you guys, there's always going to be something, all right? It doesn't matter. There's always going to be something, to the boogeyman, I can call it, that you're going to point to and be like, oh, I can't succeed because of that. If you're out on your own, you guys, you have to fucking remove that from your thought process as fast as humanly possible, because when you signed up to be an entrepreneur, when you signed up to be an independent agent or to buy a truck, you gave up all of that comfort of a salary and you put everything on the line to make your dreams work. All right. I have completely removed the fact that I am ever going to work for anybody ever again. There is no backup plan. I am unemployable at this point. I will figure it out no matter what. And that has to be your mentality every single day. You will figure this out, because this is just today's flavor of the problems. All right. Tomorrow's going to have another one. Next week, next year, there's always going to be something that you can allow to stop you from making progress. And if you get hit with that wall and you quit, you're always going to regret it. All right. But like, there are some very clear strategies, and nothing about what I'm saying is sexy and easy, you guys. And that's probably why a lot of people don't like to listen to these specific episodes when I talk about this stuff, because people want me to cradle them and tell them everything's going to be all right. You're fine. You're a special little snowflake. You're not. I'm not a special little snowflake. I'm not immune to all these market challenges that are out here. I have just given up the fact that I am going to let any of this stop me from achieving my goals. All right. So when it boils down to it, you guys, if you want to find customers, if you want to find real shippers out there, you have to have an ICP. You have to go after one thing. All right. I just laid out all those numbers. We're talking billions of dollars inside of certain niches of freight modes. All right. Niches are consumer goods, pipe, stuff like that. You got your mode, you got your niche inside of that mode, and then you got your core region. All right. Those are those big three that I want you to establish, and especially if you don't have a book of business. And then from there, set a number that you are going to hit every single day. Do not rely on email only. Do not rely on DM. All right. Because you will not get responded to. It's like, this is just coming from somebody who wasted 15 months. I'll put it like this. I invested 15 months of just email that got me $0 of revenue. And then as soon as we switched that into the old school way of called cold calling, our business started to grow. All right. So again, take that for what it's worth, you guys. This is just coming from a guy who actually does the job that I talk about. So you got your ideal customer profile. You got your core mode, full truckload, drive-in, reefer, whatever that is. You got your niche commodity that you're going to go after. Start there. Then you got your core region that you're going to operate in. Set a sales number that you can hit every single day, 25 calls a day, whatever that is. If you don't have the ability to pay for lead generation software, utilize Google. Google those keywords in your local area. Pull up a Google document, create your own. All right. All you got to title it company name, company phone number, address, notes, and then fill in who the decision maker is after you get that information out there, you guys. And then just build up your own little lead list that way. All right. This is just a free tool that I've used. And I just want you guys to know that if you have the money to pay for some of this shit, you guys pay for it. It's great. If you don't have the money to pay for it, you do not need it to succeed to get your book of business off the ground out there. But that is going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys got value in what you heard here today. If you did, and you're not subscribed to the show, you guys, subscribe to the show. Share the show out there, you guys. Follow me on social media. Do those little things. If you don't want to rank the show or anything like that or share it, just follow me on social media. We're on all the major platforms. Anything we can do to help get this message out there, you guys, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to help people. And that's it. But that will be it, you guys. We'll be back next week. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.